Can this scientific breakthrough transform Indian agriculture? Can we end the dependence that we have on urea for Indian farming? And how a tiny protein flip can bring in a second green revolution for us? The first green revolution ensured food security but created ecological stress. But today, a tiny molecular change could pave a way for second green revolution, but a more sustainable one. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and today we are going to discuss that discovery which could actually pave way for the second green revolution through just a tiny molecular change, and it could also reduce the fertilizer subsidy burden on the government. So let us start with understanding that what exactly is the discovery and what has been found. So when we talk about this particular discovery, it has been done by Aarhus University and it has been published in the journal Nature. And as per this study, if a little bit of tweaking in the molecular structure can be done, that is a tiny protein change. That means after that, the cereal crops can fix their own nitrogen. That means if the nitrogen can be fixed by the own crop, they would not use fertilizers such as urea, which are used for provision of nitrogen. Now this breakthrough as of now has been seen only in barley, but if it comes through for wheat, rice and maize, this could drastically reduce the dependence on urea, the fertilizer subsidy burden, and could pave the way for sustainable second green revolution for India. Now this particular discovery is absolutely important for India because India is the largest user of urea, and this is because of the heavy dominance of wheat and rice. Both cereal crops which are not nitrogen fixers, they need addition of nitrogen, and that is supplied through urea. And that means this might give impetus to increased output and, as I said, the second green revolution that we are talking about. Now to understand what exactly has been done in the discovery, let us try to break it down one by one and understand the whole scenario in front of us. So starting with understanding that how are we talking about fixation of nitrogen. So there are certain plants which are broadly classified as legumes or leguminous crops. These are such as pulses, soybean, peas. They basically host certain type of bacteria, that is rhizobia bacteria, and this is where we get to see that the bacteria enters the roots. Atmospheric nitrogen, that is N2, that is present in abundance. It is fixed in form of ammonia. Can you tell me in the comment section what is the formula for ammonia that is used? It is fixed in the form of ammonia, and from this the plant absorbs the nitrogen directly. But this is available only in leguminous crops. That means this is natural nitrogen fixation that takes place. In such plants and such crops, you do not need addition of artificial fertilizers such as urea, and it creates an environment friendly cycle of nutrition. But certain crops which do not have the nutrient fixation, the nitrogen fixation, that means the non-leguminous crops such as the cereals, this is where a biological barrier comes from them. And this is also because of a reason. Because the cereal crops, they have a very strong immunity response and they treat any microbe, be it rhizobacteria, as a threat. Because they do not allow the bacteria to enter the roots, the process of nitrogen fixation does not take place. And the key receptor responsible for that is CERK6 and RLK4. And that is why it triggers the immune defense, and the whole symbiosis between rhizobium bacteria and the leguminous plants does not take place. Now this is where the whole thing will be changed. If we are able to change the immune defense, the receptors that trigger the immune defense, if we are able to change that, then symbiosis might occur in these plants as well. And that is what will change the whole game for Indian farming and Indian agriculture. In this context, when we have understood that what we are aiming at, now let us move to understand that how nitrogen plays such an important role across the Indian agriculture sector. So when we are talking about nitrogen, it is important when we are talking for the protein synthesis, that means building of plant tissues. It is important for chlorophyll, it enables photosynthesis, and it is important for higher grain output. Even though nitrogen is highly available, abundantly available in the atmosphere, 78%, that is not utilized by the plants directly. As I explained, it can be utilized by the nitrogen fixes, that is the leguminous crops, but not by other plants and crops such as cereal crops. In this context, when nitrogen has to be given artificially, it has led to multiple problems such as urea overuse. That means it gradually leads to the release of nitrous oxide, which is 300 times more potent than carbon dioxide. It leads to groundwater contamination. It leads to soil degradation and eutrophication in rivers as well. So all of these problems are caused by excess use of urea, because there are cereals that cannot fix nitrogen organically. Now in this whole scenario, because of excess usage of urea, there are not only the environmental problems in front of us, there is the financial problem as well. For example, if we look at the fertilizer subsidy, India spends almost 2 to 2.5 lakh crores every year on fertilizer subsidy. If this actual study makes a breakthrough further from barley, then this subsidy number could actually radically change. Furthermore, it is not about the amount of money. This amount of money also causes dependence, because as of now, we depend on imported natural gas to produce urea. That means we have dependence and financial stress, and add to that the environmental damage involved. So all in all, the urea burden that is on our country, it is not giving us the best output. And in this scenario, this particular discovery could change this whole picture all at once. So let us understand now that what has been done in the discovery. So what scientists have done is the usual receptors have been changed using 2 amino acids, and that has altered the receptors behavior that used to stop any kind of microbe. The immune responses have switched so selectively, and cereal roots will accept nitrogen fixing bacteria, and as a result we will get to see successful nitrogen fixing in cereal crops, in this case which has been seen in barley. Now moving on to understand that how this discovery can be a fruitful gain for Indian farming, because if this is further applied successfully to especially rice and wheat, which dominates Indian agriculture, then rice and wheat will be able to fix nitrogen from air. There will be far less requirement of urea, and even if the crop is able to fix 50 kg nitrogen per hectare, it will lead to savings of rupees 40,000 crores per year. Nitrous oxide emissions will drop by 1/3. Furthermore, it will not only help with the food security, it will also help in MSP crops and their prices as well. That means the benefit will be spread across, not just for government but for farmers as well. Other than that, if we talk about the environmental benefits, we will have reduced greenhouse gas emissions, especially nitrous oxide. The emissions will be cut by 1/3. There will be reduced groundwater pollution, soil toxicity will reduce, and farmers will enjoy lesser input cost. They will be less dependent on timely rainfall and fertilizer availability, and government would be also relieved of the burden of the subsidy, where the money could go on to other developmental projects as well. So the main question that lies here is, will this trigger a second green revolution? When we look at the first green revolution, we saw that it was facilitated by high yield variety seeds, heavy fertilizers and water use, yield focused and ecologically costly. But when we are looking towards second green revolution, we know that it needs to be scientifically driven, where we will find gene editing, not transgenics. It will be focused towards sustainability. There will be lesser chemical dependence, lower ecological cost, and the agriculture will climate smart, and agriculture will be climate smart. For example, when we are talking about this particular breakthrough as well, this will automatically facilitate the drier regions such as Bundelkhand and the flood prone regions such as Bihar, because this technology also facilitates climate resilience. So from ecologically costly, we will be moving to climate resilient and sustainable agriculture. If such scientific breakthroughs keep coming in, such innovation keeps coming in, and we will be also looking towards subsidy driven agriculture and its change towards sustainability and science driven agriculture in our country, which is the much needed thing of the hour. At the same time, when we are talking about such a huge breakthrough, there are certain challenges associated with it, because regulatory approvals are a tedious task, and this especially is applicable for gene edited crops. The public perception in terms of safety and the usage of biotechnology is going to be a big barrier, and this breakthrough has been only for barley. So the transition and scaling from barley to rice and wheat is most important for the Indian agricultural context, and also looking into the after effects of it, be it managing the soil's health, be it managing the soil microbial ecosystems and everything around it. So all in all, even with the challenges, this is a promising thing. There will be policy imperatives which will be required, and if done right, then the time for second green revolution probably has arrived. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'll be leaving you here with a practice question. On this note, I'll be revealing the answer of yesterday's question. That is B. Now that's all for today. Thank you so much.